right, I'm going to go live on TikTok now. Please tune in for, as I said, that the right people join and that they be touched by the divine energy. Excuse me, I could have muted. And that they're really able to feel something. Okay, here we go. Thank you so very much for dropping by this video. This is going to be a very short talk and then a guided meditation on how to receive divine energy that can actually heal. I know this in my direct experience. I had multiple medically impossible healings occur through this method. And there's really only one prerequisite to do this. And you just have to be open. You have to be open to the possibility that there is a higher power and that higher power is available to help and heal. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to blindly believe what I'm saying here, but there does need to be a little bit of openness. And that's all I had, was a little bit of openness, and desperation, because my health was so bad. I was a very strict agnostic. I didn't believe in anything spiritual, but I was open. So I hope that you can have some of that openness too. And you can read some firsthand accounts or listen to some firsthand accounts of people who've experienced healing through this by going to YouTube and searching for Bruno Gröning documentary. And I'll post some info about that so you can find it. So, enough talking. Let's go ahead and do it. So please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands resting on your legs, palms facing upwards, back in a relaxed upright position, not stiff, not slouched. A relaxed, alert position. If possible, not leaning against your chair. If you need to, that's okay. And take a nice deep breath, get comfortable. And please think of something that makes you happy, something that makes you joyful. That could be a positive memory. It could be someone who's very dear to you. It could be a beloved animal friend, something that just really makes you and your heart smile. And now, please, in your own way, that may be silently, it may be out loud, please ask to receive the divine power, the healing stream, and observe your body, having the will, having the intention to take that energy in. And the last thing I'll say is, you notice I mentioned divine. There's no belief system connected to this. This is a universal spiritual idea that there is a higher power. You get to define it and name it how you will. All that's necessary is openness, that there is a higher power that helps and heals. If it helps, you can imagine you're out in the sunlight and the rays are pouring down and you're receiving, you're taking in that warmth. Except we're doing that with the divine power, with the divine energy. So the practice is to observe your body with the intention to take in this healing blessing. Noticing what you feel. If there's a spiritual teacher whom you trust in, you can ask them for help. This teaching, I learned it from someone named Bruno Gröning. He said he's available to help people on the spiritual path. You can ask him for help. But just keep coming back to the intention to receive, to take in divine healing energy. noticing what you feel. Having the intention to take in this divine energy. If your mind is going all over the place, you can put on some relaxing music. You can repeat a short prayer, phrase, or mantra, or watch your breath. But the technique is to observe your body with the intention to receive divine healing energy. Letting thoughts pass on by, coming back to this intention to receive, to take in. Just keep coming back to the practice. Observing your body with the intention to take in divine healing energy. You can do the practice for as long as short as you like. One idea is to do it until you feel filled up. So I'm going to share a few words. Thanks everyone for joining in. Andy, hello, Divine Creations. Yes. Brother Dimitri Ministries. I just got home from, you just went from an in-person group to a virtual group. Lucky, lucky you. Thank you everyone for joining in. What's really on my mind and heart today about, or at least right now, about Bruno's teachings is how strong I feel the energy when I tune in for other people. You know, I really had the intention, as I shared in the chat box, that I really want to share this practice more. And so I was really, asking for the highest and best for everyone who came on TikTok. And a bunch of people came and went. And there was one person who came, she came yesterday and she stayed for a while. And it's very powerful to tune in for other people. It's also very important to tune in for ourselves. Bruno once said that on the spiritual path, one has to be at first a kind of egoist. That's the translation. I don't know the exact German word. So that we can free ourselves from evil, so that we can then, and then he talked about how we need to free ourselves from evil so we can literally teach other people how to free themselves from evil. Because Bruno said that healing was only 5 or 10% of his work. And so physical healings are glorious. But what it was really all about was salvation, not in a religious sense of the word, but in a spiritual sense, where the soul is completely freed from evil, where it's not able to grip the soul anymore. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be challenges, but as Bruno said, where you're able to maintain the heavenly peace under all circumstances. Of course, that's a very universal idea. It's not something that Bruno made up. He called it the divine heavenly peace. I haven't read that anywhere else, but other traditions talk about freedom, or even in the Bible, it says the peace that passes all understanding. But every religious and spiritual tradition talks about a kind of freedom that's tied in to peace, sometimes explicitly stated as true peace, unconditional peace, the ability to be at peace no matter what's going on around us. And of course, Bruno came to show each one of us the way how to be free, but he also came to show us how to, in essence, set this planet free. He didn't talk about it often, but he talked about the day where all evil would be gone from this planet. And that we can play a part in that. He said the more people who want the triumph of good over evil, the sooner it can happen. I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, your thoughts and attitudes shape the destiny of the future of this planet. Now, it's not like I'm in control of the destiny of this planet or you're in control, but it's almost like we get a vote. And one way we vote is with our thoughts and attitudes and wanting the good. You can think of life as a dance or an event where everyone's doing their own dance or doing their own thing, and then how each of us shows up has impact. If I show up to the dance and I'm all chaotic and unhappy and unhealthy, and then that has some impact on the other dancers. And if I show up and I'm connected to the divine and I bring good energy, that can have a positive impact. Now, that's not to shame or blame anyone, because we all, until we're a master, we all carry some level of evil, or you could say delusion or untruth, or we're all works in progress. And through good thoughts, good words, good deeds, through taking in this energy for ourselves, through taking in this energy for other people, for taking in this energy for everyone and everything on this planet, we can help move things forward. It's a beautiful thing that we can literally be a part of the solution. That requires patience. Bruno said, God's mill grinds slowly but surely. And Bruno often said he called people to the great turnaround, the great reversal. A complete 180 of how all of us have lived life, disconnected from God, out of harmony with nature, out of harmony with the fact that God lives within us, not being guided by God. That's how we've been living. And so the great turnaround comes this awareness that God lives inside each one of us, of being guided by God. As Bruno would say, be a God listener, a God follower, and living in harmony with nature, living a natural lifestyle, as opposed to what Bruno called an artificial lifestyle. And a lot of this, for me, is based around really understanding God. Or I should say, maybe having a new definition. Bruno said God is goodness, God is love, God is harmony, order, balance. God is aliveness, God is life. I was raised in a denomination that taught that God was basically a very wrathful, scary dude. And love. Whereas Bruno was adamant that God never punishes. That God is not wrathful. That, as Bruno said, love is God. Goodness is God. So let's reflect on all this and sit for a few minutes. So we've been given another day of life. Let's ask, what would you have me do today, God? It doesn't mean we're going to go like start a giant business or start a nonprofit or, travel to Antarctica today, though maybe some people will. Somebody will. It can be as simple as calling somebody, sending a text, taking care of that errand or that task that we've been procrastinating. I was on a spiritual meeting before this, and someone really shared about how they were struggling, and I felt like, oh, there's something I need to say, but I didn't know what it was. And so I stepped, it was a Zoom meeting, so I stepped off of it, and then it just hit me, like, this is what you need to tell that person. And I went back on and shared it, and she was very moved. It was, you could say, what she needed to hear. It was nothing like, esoteric. It was just an idea that I really felt like it would be helpful, and it was. So I didn't go on there and like preach to her. I had this inspiration and I shared it. And I sometimes think that's what the spiritual life is connecting to spirit, being filled up, and then living an inspired life, meaning a life guided by spirit, where we feel full of spirit, of God, of the energy of God, of the aliveness, of the power of God. Aw, MOF. Oh, I'm so grateful to hear that. For those who didn't see, MOF said, I am far distant from any actual group, and your live streams have been very important for me to strengthen my practice. I'm so delighted to hear that. And, it's not for me to tell you what to do, MOF, but, you can tune in with people over the phone. You can teach a friend how to tune in who's never heard of Bruno Gröning. Sometimes I teach people to tune in, and I don't even mention Bruno Gröning. I just say, hey, do you want to learn this meditative practice on how to receive divine healing energy? And I've had a couple people be like, yeah, that sounds great. And there's one person who I taught it to, and I didn't mention Bruno's name. I just kind of go with by guidance, and I taught it to him, and I forgot about it, and I bumped into him a couple of years later, and he's like, yeah, I do that practice every now and then. Thank you. He's like, sometimes when I just have some spare time, I'll receive the divine energy. So we can, I taught it to a friend who's an atheist, another friend. And I would say it's interesting. She's a very spiritual atheist. She's very much into connecting with nature, into growth. She just doesn't believe in a higher power. For her, she says nature is her higher power, which, is pretty spiritual, but she loves it. She doesn't believe that it's the divine power, but she can feel something. And so she does it. And actually, she leads nature walks, and she teaches it to her clients. So we don't have to have a YouTube channel. We don't have to be a minister. We don't have to be a, Bruno Gröning Circle of Friend community leader. You don't have to be a community leader to pass on Bruno's teachings. What I shared earlier is I can't remember the exact words, but Bruno said, you need to find freedom. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, you need to find freedom from evil so you can share with other people how you found freedom from evil and help them, help your neighbor. So I went through this process of like, am I allowed to do this on my own? And it's a kind of a process I think we all need to go through. But the long and short of it is, yes, I am allowed, and so are you, and so is everybody. So I give everybody here permission to share Einstein and to share Bruno with other people. But you don't need my permission. I'm joking. You just need God's permission. And I believe we all have that, God or Bruno's permission or blessing. And it's my belief that we all have that. So I'm going to close with a final prayer. Beloved Maker, beloved Source, our dear friend Bruno, please, for everyone who joined this live, for everyone who watches this video, please, for all those who are sharing Bruno's work, and that doesn't have to be in a big way. It could just be sharing, tuning in with a friend. Please, for all the friends of Bruno Gröning, please, for everyone on this planet and everything, every living thing, highest blessing. Please, Bruno, help us to find the divine heavenly peace that's untouchable. Please help us to seek guidance in everything. Please guide us back to a natural way of life, of feeling God within us, seeing God in everyone and everything, and being guided by God, and have a new understanding of God as goodness, as love, as harmony. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Deeply appreciate everyone joining in, everyone who watches this. And thank you, Andy, Brother Dimitri Ministries, and MOF for saying hello. And I wish everyone a blessed day. And let's ask, what would you have me do today? And see what happens. Take care. Big love.